Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we take a look at animals that are looking for forever homes at the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Linda Shea, with me is Randy Cooper, and we're going to take a look first at this handsome little guy. This is Devin. Devin is a lab mix. As you can tell, he likes tummy rubs. His tail is just a wagging. He's about 8 years old. He was surrendered by an owner. They just did not have time for him. And again, he's got a great temperament and personality. And a lot of times, some people have an idea of what senior dogs act like or what senior animals might be like. And Devin is very, very active for his age. He's very agile, he's very friendly, he's very social, and he just thrives on companionship. So if you're looking for a companion dog, don't ever be discouraged by an animal's age. It really is their temperament and their personality and activity level that's going to make or break that relationship. He is a good weight. He's around 41 pounds. We have him color-coded blue. And if you're familiar with our shelter, blue dogs are the ones that are the best behaved, the most well-mannered, and the most social. So he has acclimated wonderfully in the kennels. He came in with another dog. He gets along with other dogs. We do behavior assess all of our dogs, so all of that information is available for adopters. We've brought Devin up to speed on vaccines, on deworming, on preventatives for fleas and ticks, and have provided anything else that he needs. But he is very sweet. At 41 pounds, he's a great size and just has a great personality. So this is Devin. If you're looking for this kind of a dog, I recommend you come into the shelter and visit with him.
Good job.
This handsome little guy is Benjamin Button, and he's actually a dog that came in with Devin, our previous dog. Benjamin Button is also a lab mix. He's got more chocolate to him in coloring. He's about 5 to 6 years old, so he's a little bit younger than Devin, a little more active. Devin, I would say between the two of them, Devin has the better manners overall, but Benjamin Button is just as affectionate. He's a little bit bigger. He's 45 pounds instead of the 41. We've brought him up to speed on vaccines, preventatives, deworming, and so forth. And we've also color-coded him. So Benjamin Button is color-coded green. And that's sort of the opposite of the blue dogs. The blue dogs are the better behaved ones, and then the green ones, you can tell, are sometimes a little more active, need some more work as far as manners, and as far as walking on a leash, and as far as, he's just got a lot of enthusiasm for life. He's just a very active dog. So, and already 5 or 6 years old. So if you've got a family situation where you like to go on walks and would be interested in training him how to walk nicely on a leash, that would be an ideal project for him. I think all dogs at some point need to be able to walk nicely on a leash for their own benefit and for their owners. They're more likely to get out on walks if they're not yanking their owners through the neighborhood. So Benjamin Button, again, came to us with another dog, so he gets along with other dogs. He's lived with cats, and he's been around children of all ages, and again, turned in. The family just did not have time to keep him. Because he's 5 or 6 years old, there's a discount to his adoption fee. The dog adoption fees in general for adult dogs are $92.50. Benjamin Button would be $72.50. It's not because he's worth less, but it's an incentive to encourage adoption of our older animals. So again, this is Benjamin Button. If you're interested in a lab that needs a little bit of work, he would be a great choice. This little guy is Jax. Jax is only about a year old. Came to us as a stray back in January. He's about 50 pounds or so, and he's extremely active. So I'm sure those of you that are familiar with Pet Pals in our shelter can tell that he is color-coded green. He needs some work on manners. He needs to be taught how to walk nicely on a leash. He's got a lot of interest in the environment. He just wants to see what's going on. He wants to go. He wants to do. So he would need somebody that's committed to offering him time and having resources in the way of time for him to learn how to walk nicely on a leash and sit, keep all 4 paws on the ground. A lot of times dogs like this can be a frustration for folks that are not prepared. So one thing that we do here at the Frederick County Division of Animal Control is we have an adoption process. So if you're interested in adopting, say, Jax, you would come in and visit with him. We ask that your whole family come in to visit. as possible, just to make sure that everybody's on board, that if you have small children, they're not going to be afraid of him, that there's no allergies or no other issues that we would need to discuss. You'd put an application in, and then within a couple of days you would do an adoption interview, which is really your opportunity as an adopter to get information from us. We go over the animal's medical from top to bottom. We go over all the vet notes. We go over any medical history. With dogs, we go over the dog evaluation, the behavior assessment that we do. So the goal of the adoption interview is to provide you, the adopter, with as much information as possible so that you can make a good decision as to whether you want to move forward with the adoption or not. It's really important, especially in the case of strays, and especially in the case of stray breeds such as Jacks that are big and strong. You want to make sure that you have as much information so that you can be as prepared as possible to take him into your home. Because he is a puppy, he falls under what we call our puppy process, meaning that we take up to 4 applications, and his adoption fee is $150 because he is a puppy. So again, this is Jack's. If you have time, if you've got energy, if you've got some experience with training dogs, that would be wonderful for him and wonderful for you. So again, this is Jack's looking for a forever home. So this little girl's name is Peanut. She is a Dutch mix bunny, and she's about 6 months old. She started off in a pet store, and typically pet stores do not take back any of the animals that they sell, and when owners can no longer keep animals, that's how they end up at the shelter. So Peanut's with us now. She will be spayed prior to leaving. All cats, dogs, and bunnies, boys and girls, get spayed or neutered prior to leaving the shelter. The adoption fee for bunnies is $50. There is also an adoption process similar to the cats and dogs because you really want to make sure that you are prepared. The reason that Peanut ended up here is I guess the small children and her original family kept dropping things that were unsafe into her cage, and the parents in frustration brought the bunny here. So part of an obligation of having any pet, regardless of whether it lives in a cage or it roams around the house, you want to make sure that the whole family is respectful of that animal, that they understand that there's a safety component, that bunnies in general will pretty much chew through things, chew on things, so it's important to not feed them just anything. They can chew through electric cords and get into things that are unsafe. So as a parent, it's your obligation really to supervise your kids and pets to keep both the kids and the pets safe. So Peanut's here with us now. Bunnies, again, have a special diet. You need to offer them greens. You need to offer them things to chew on. We offer them here sometimes telephone books so they have something to do. We offer them little boxes where they can hop around and hide in. We offer them hay. We offer them litter boxes. So there's a whole little setup. So if you're interested in adopting a bunny, and if you've never had a bunny before, we have a volunteer that is sort of a bunny expert and would be happy to go over any preemptive information that you would need, and ultimately you'll make the decision if it's a good choice or not. But bunnies are just as much work, if not more, than dogs and cats. And the more part would be that they are prey animals and they need to be kept safe, especially from other animals in the house and certainly from small children that might drop unsafe things into their cage. So again, you want to make sure that you're supervising the interaction between any pet and any child. But this is Peanut, again about 6 months old, a Dutch mix bunny, and she is looking for a forever family. This little girl is named Little Girl. She is about 6 months old, was turned in with 4 other cats from the same home, and the reason she was turned in, they just had too many cats. She is very little. She's only about 5 pounds, 6.5 ounces, so she's a bit underweight given her age. She's missing some fur, and that can be from over-grooming, it can be from stress, it can be from a previous less than ideal diet. So what we're providing her here is just supervising her eating habits, observing her on a daily basis. We've dewormed her. She did have some extra parasites which were not helpful as far as keeping her body condition up, but we've taken care of all that. So she is on our adoption floor right now. We've snap tested her for leukemia and FIV, so we should know that she's free and clear of those 2 viruses that are transmissible from cat to cat. And again, prior to leaving here, she will be spayed. That is the shelter's contribution to reducing the number of unwanted pets and pet overpopulation, is that every animal, cat, dog, and bunny that leaves our shelter is spayed or neutered prior to leaving. So many times, especially during the summer months, we get litters of kittens, we get boxes of cats, and the same situation is where there's just too many cats in one home. So if you have too many cats and you need financial assistance with getting them spayed or neutered, we have several programs we can give you information on and to get that done. Some of the programs are actually free. Some are not based on your income, and some you do not have to be a Frederick County resident. So our goal here is to share that information, to share those resources, and certainly to prevent the overpopulation of unwanted pets. But in the meantime, we are the only animal shelter in Frederick County, and we have a number of cats and even kittens, because little girl is still a kitten at 6 months old, available for adoption. So if you're looking for a kitten, and it's already February and there's snow on the ground, but we still have kittens in the shelter, you want to make sure that you check the shelter for maybe a kitten that would suit your family. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at 5 more of our cats available for adoption.
Did you know that all of Frederick County's mixed recyclables go to a materials recovery facility to be sorted? For this to happen, your recyclables need to be placed into a cart or bin loose, not in bags. Trash bags are not recyclable, and materials in bags are difficult to open at the sorting center and are not accepted. The only exception to this rule are recyclable plastic bags, like grocery store bags, which do need to be gathered together inside of one bag so that they don't get caught in the sorting facility's machinery. Also, shredded paper should be placed inside a paper bag or cardboard box so that it can be collected and sorted properly. Thank you for helping to make recycling work better for our community. And remember, please don't bag your mixed recyclables. More information on our recycling program can be found online, in our mobile app, or by calling our office. Recycle more, waste less.
Do you know the top risk factors for breast cancer? Number 1, being a woman. Number 2, getting older. So, if you are a woman and 40 or older, you should be screened for breast cancer. Talk to your healthcare provider today about getting screened with a clinical breast exam and mammogram. Doing this regularly is important, as early detection can save lives. For more information, contact the Frederick County Health Department's Breast and Cervical Cancer Screening Program at 301-600-3362 or visit our website at frederickcountymd.gov/cancer prevention.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. We've got 5 beautiful cats that we're going to take a look at that are in need of adoption. First one up is Rosebud. She is a domestic long-hair tortoiseshell, and some folks would classify her as an orange tortoiseshell. The color classification of tortoiseshell is sort of a blending of orange and black, and when it's predominantly orange, referred to as an orange tortie. So this is Rosebud. She came to us previously owned. It is deceptive because she's only about 7 pounds. The fur makes her look a little bit larger than the 7 pounds that she is. She's about 4 years old. She came to us already spayed, so her owners did the right thing by having that done. And the reason she ended up with us, the person had Rosebud for Rosebud's whole entire life since she was a kitten, and then the son in the family developed allergies, so Rosebud ended up with us. She's been around children 6 years old and up. She lived with one other cat. So it's important to note that, you know, if you do introduce pets into your family, you want to be committed for the pet's whole entire life. Now, circumstances do change and allergies do develop, but sometimes there's ways around that. And prior to relinquishing a pet to the shelter, you want to call ahead. And if there's, you know, if you're interested in keeping your pet, we always have ideas and suggestions, things that you can put into place to actually keep your pet in your family without jeopardizing anybody's health. One of the things that folks tell me a lot of times during adoption interviews is that they intend the pet to sleep with their child, and I'm fairly opposed to that, only because I think that kids especially need at least 8 hours of free and clear respiratory time where they're not, you know, inhaling dander or fur, not waking up to fur on their pillows. So as endearing as it is to have a pet share, you know, nighttime with your child, sometimes you do have to make those choices as to what's in the best interest of both the pet and the child. But Rosebud has already been, again, already spayed. We've tested her for feline leukemia and FIV, and we do that for all of the cats on the adoption floor. FIV is one of those viruses that once they test negative, unless you put them with, unless they are bitten by a cat that's got FIV, chances are unlikely they'll develop it. And then leukemia, though, can test negative on day 1, and then from day 30 through 90, they actually test positive. So we do recommend that in about a 3-month period, discuss with your vet. Your vet's going to be your best friend once you adopt an animal from us. Maybe retesting, especially if there's any symptoms similar to an upper respiratory infection. But this is Rosebud again. She is beautiful. She is friendly. You can tell she's very comfortable on Randy's lap, and she is looking for a home. This little girl is Kate. She's about 2 years old. She came to us in November. One of the common questions that we get when folks drop off animals or visitors to the shelter is that they want to know how long we keep animals here. And there really is no time limit. As long as an animal stays healthy and content and is eating, is not showing any signs of stress or destruction, they can stay. We've had cats that are here for months, such as Kate. We've had dogs that are here for weeks. Typically, dogs get adopted much more quickly than cats do. And we also work with a number of rescue organizations that end up pulling cats and kittens, especially during what's going to be right around the corner is kitten season. Usually from around April or May through the fall, we are inundated on a daily basis with cats and kittens and orphan kittens of all ages, and it just is an endless cycle. So we always appreciate rescues that come to our assistance and pull some of these felines. Last year we took in over 3,000 cats and kittens. So it's important as a community to recognize there's that many cats and kittens in our community that are unwanted. So again, if you have cats or kittens in your community, in your home, if you need to get them spayed or neutered, there's many programs out there. Some are for free, some do not do, doesn't matter what your income is. The whole focus is just to make sure that there aren't unwanted kittens that are brought into the world and the prevention is to just spay or neuter the adults. But Kay is here now. She was brought in because I guess she was not getting along with the other cat in the family or on the property. She had lived outside primarily, but she's done a great job here. Obviously at the shelter, cats are maintained indoors. We have very traditional stainless steel caging. We make that as comfortable as we can with enrichment, with bedding, obviously litter box, food and water. We also have a couple of other options as cats are here longer, or if they're larger in size, we've got a kitty cabana, which is a free roaming cat room. We've got a large, what we call a playpen, which is kind of a double story, 6 feet by 4 feet enclosure for some of our cats so they can kind of live there and stretch a bit more than in a regular cage. But Kate's been here since November. That doesn't preclude her from being adopted. It doesn't preclude her from being pulled by rescue. And certainly if you're watching Pet Pals and you know somebody who might want a sweet little brown tabby with white, she's about 8 pounds, Kate would be a very good choice. So again, Kate is one of our cats looking for a forever home. So these two kittens, they are about 16 months old, and I have the more active one. This is Michael, and Randy has Gabriel, who's the calmer kitten of both of these guys. And at 16 months old, maybe not so much kittens as much as juveniles. They have been here since October, so again, there's no time limit on how long animals can stay with us. These little boys, well, big boys, are happy, healthy, friendly, as you can tell, very active, and they are bonded. So they came in together, they live nicely together, they groom each other, they play together, so we consider them bonded, meaning that they must be adopted together. It would be unfair to either kitten to separate them. And a lot of times if you have room for one cat in your home, another one is not going to make that much difference, especially if they already get along with one another. So again, this is Michael. He's a gorgeous brown tabby. Gabriel is our domestic short hair. Both of these boys have already been, there you go. Both of these boys have already been neutered. They're microchipped. They are current on vaccines, including a rabies vaccine. And the microchipping that we do microchipping for any animal that leaves here, whether they're adopted or returned to an owner. And that's just in case they get loose from their adopter or their owner a second time and they end up at a shelter or a vet's office or any place that has a scanner, they can be easily returned to their owner. Just because the microchip, it's about the size of a grain of rice. It's implanted between their shoulder blades, and it emits a number. And then that number tracks back to a database. The database includes information on the owner's contact information, their address, their name, their phone number. It can also have medical information on the animal, so if your animal's diabetic, needs certain medication, all of that information is valuable, especially if an animal comes into the shelter, say late at night, and we're unable to reach an owner until the morning. We would be able to have access to that information, which is important. Some folks think that microchipping is invasive. It really has saved a lot of lives. We have returned animals that have come from New Orleans, that have ended up in Frederick. People visit here, their animal gets loose, ends up at the shelter. The microchip would be the only way that we would be able to notify the owner that that happened. We've had animals, from 2 counties down in Virginia that have showed up here, and again, the microchip was the one way that we were able to return them, because so many times if you lose your pet, you're typically going to look in the local vicinity in adjacent counties. You're not going to think to look 4, 5, or 6 states away. So microchipping has certainly helped the animals that we've seen in being returned to their owners. So again, I've got Michael here in my lap, who's, I guess he's finally just adjusted to sitting. And then Gabriel is over there. So again, if you're looking for 2 cats, these are 2 bonded. They must go together, and there is a reduction in their fee as well, because once you adopt the 2 together, there's a $20 discount. So if you have any concerns about adopting 2 cats at the same time, if you've never done that before, we are always willing to answer questions, to offer you advice, to kind of gauge if this would be a good choice for you or not. But these guys, again, are only 16 months old. They've been here since October. They are wonderful, they are social, they are sweet, and they are volunteer and staff favorites. So I encourage you to come in and visit with these guys if you're looking to adopt. The last little kitten we're going to take a look at is Leonardo. He's not so little. He's about 9 pounds or so. He is about 10 months old now. He came to us in October, so he's one of our longer term residents here. He is your basic domestic short hair, black. He's got a little bit of white here and there. And we named him Leonardo. He came in previously owned. The owners were unable, they stated financial issues as the reason that he was relinquished. So again, if you have difficulty financially maintaining your pets, if you need help, assistance with spaying and neutering, with Leonardo, he did come to us intact. We did go ahead and neuter him, microchip him, brought him up to speed on all vaccines, including a rabies vaccine. So that makes him all ready for adoption. But if you have a pet in your family that is in need of those things, we do have information on financial assistance throughout the county that you might be eligible for. All you have to do is ask. We've got brochures, we've got phone numbers. We will do anything we can. We would much prefer that you keep your pet in your family than relinquish it to the shelter if possible. And a lot of times if it's money that's standing between keeping your pet, we can offer you resources to help with that. We also have a pet food bank, so if you're unable to buy pet food, we do have a food bank filled with food for donations from the community that goes back out into the community for folks that may be experiencing hardship. So again, we want to do everything that we can to make sure if you have a pet in your family, you're able to keep it. At the moment though, Leonardo is with us. Again, has been here since October. He's doing really well. He came in with one other cat, so he gets along with other cats. He, I guess his owners also told us that he was around other cats in the family. He seems to get along with anybody. He's very active, not surprising given his age. So, and again, he's very friendly, very sweet, and he's been here a long time. So if you're looking for a cat, and that's often a question, you know, who's been here the longest? Leonardo is certainly one of the animals that's been here the longest. So if you're interested in visiting with him, I encourage you to come to the shelter. We have very convenient hours. We are open 6 days a week. We're open 2 weeknights until 8 o'clock on Wednesday and Thursday. And we're open on Saturday. The kennels are open from 10 until 4. So if you have any questions at any point, we encourage you to call the shelter. Call ahead if you have questions about the animals or about the procedures or anything. And we're here as the only shelter. We're here as a resource to either place animals or help you keep the pets that you have. So that's it for this week's Pet Pals. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great week, and we will see you next week on Pet Pals.